Good afternoon, our listeners out there. You're welcome to Caring Heart on Emphasis Radio. Caring Heart is a program where we discuss the rights and privileges of persons with disabilities. My name is Abu Chris Anobioro, your regular host. And today we'll be discussing a very interesting topic. We'll be looking at inaccessible public infrastructure and its effect on the productivity of persons with disabilities in Nigeria. When you talk about inaccessible infrastructure, what we're actually talking about is the road, the buildings, all the pedestrian bridges that we have, the transportation, the air transportation, rail transportation, all of that, that the public infrastructures we are all talking about. And in Nigeria, it remains a very significant barrier for the productivity and overall inclusion of persons with disabilities, despite the inclusion of despite the existence of the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act of 2018. The implementation and enforcement of this law has actually become still very weak, even though we are having a lot of uh, awareness going on. People are beginning to talk about it, but the implementation is still very weak, and it has also contributed to inaccessible public infrastructure that we are all facing in Nigeria. So, and we are going to point out some of the areas that is actually affecting persons with disabilities, and it start from inaccessible. They are restricting them the access to education, because when you go to most of our schools, even though we have a inclusive education policy, it's still very difficult for us to have that policy to be implemented. And when you go to most of the schools are still very inaccessible. Um, Most of the infrastructures in school are still not very friendly to persons with disabilities. And the schools lack ramps, and the buildings are very inaccessible. And has become a threat to a lot of uh, children and other persons with disabilities. So I've been finding cases of people who actually as that is they just seen the idea of continuing with their education because of the fact that they can't actually access most of the buildings that we have in our schools. And it has also affected persons with disabilities in the area of employment, because one of the reasons why people are not been employing persons with disabilities is for the fact that most of the buildings are not really accessible, and they find it difficult for them to, you know, do their job properly, and that has made a lot of people not to actually give them the opportunity to work. Because when you find a building that is not really accessible and you want to employ somebody who is a wheelchair user, so you find it difficult to actually employ such a person, even though the person may have the best qualification. And the reason is just because he may not be able to access such places. And again, other challenges that has to do with transportation, and because of the lack, the way we most of our even the cheapest means of transportation are not really accessible for person. Most of the buses we have in Nigeria are buses that lack some of the ramps that will make it accessible. And when you even get into that, some of the buses, some of them don't really have audio announcement for the blind persons, and some of them don't have visual displays for the deaf persons. And when a deaf person cannot even hear his bus stops, it becomes a challenge for him to actually make use of the public transportation. And these are some of the challenges they are also facing. And again, there's also it has actually hindered a lot of persons with disabilities from entrepreneurship, because when the environment is very hostile, the environment is built in a way, they have an entire environment that is actually inaccessible, built in a way that you find it difficult to actually operate. Then what happens to that person is the person will most of the ideas of becoming an entrepreneur will not really work, because the person cannot really move around to, interact with clients, interact with people, to actually do his work properly. And these are some of the areas that has been affecting a lot of persons with disabilities. Then another thing is that it has actually affected their entire health and well-being, because most of the hospitals The health infrastructures, the health facilities that we have are not really accessible. And when you go to the hospital, you find out that even the the scales that we use, the bed, the hospital, the building itself is set up in a way that some persons with disabilities may not be able to, have access to it. And what happened to that person when the person remember that we were even going to the hospital, being able to actually move around the hospital is a big challenge. The person will decide not to even make that move to even go to some of those places and face some of these challenges. So these are some of the couple of challenges that person with disabilities, are facing because of inaccessible public infrastructure. So it have very adverse effect on the life of persons with disability, an average person with disability in Nigeria. So these are some of the challenges. And when you look around there, you see a lot of persons with disabilities who have nothing doing, or who may be within the poverty level and you think is of their own making. It's not. It's the environment. Inaccessible environment have actually contributed to that. There's a whole lot of places that they cannot be to anytime they want to be there. And there's a lot of people that they may not be able to uh, uh, see or interact with because of the fact that they may not be able to access such places. I have even come across this scenario of a particular person with disabilities who is a contractor. So he actually find himself in a particular place that he bidded for a contract. Then he needs to see the man, the Oga, and the Oga is at the sixth floor. And what happened? He couldn't actually access that sixth floor, so it becomes a challenge. So it was like they should tell the man to come down to see him. And when the person that he sent got there, the man was like, how can somebody who actually seeking for a contract to be telling me to come down? And he refused to come down. Then what happened is that after the guy spent like almost 5 hours and the man couldn't come out to actually see him, then what else? He left. And before he could come back over and over and with the same challenge, at the end of the day, he actually lost that contract because he couldn't even go up there to actually defend the terms or the what is in his contract papers. And these are some of the challenges. That's numerous examples of what person with disabilities are facing. I've even seen scenarios of those who actually apply for job and on getting to see that you will now begin to hear questions like, how would you be able to cope, knowing fully well that our office is not easily accessible. The office where you're supposed to work is actually at the second floor. So what happens? How do you get to the second floor? Then on looking at some of these challenges, the next thing is that by the time the final list will be coming out, his name or her name will not be there. Not because it's not qualified, but because of the inaccessible building that that they have seen that it's a challenge, and they decide not to actually waste their time to, and most times because of these challenges, they keep on seeing a person with disability who have some of these uh, challenges. They look at you on the side of pity, and they wouldn't want to, So it's most of this inaccessible infrastructure that actually pose some of those challenges. Imagine where you find yourself in an airport from the entrance to the boarding area is actually very accessible. Nobody will notice you, as a wheelchair user, a crutches user. You will just go all the way and do whatever you want to do. But it's only when there are so many obstacles that people will begin to see that there's a lot of challenges that you need to face and all that it becomes a problem on what you're going to be facing. So we will just go on a very short break, and when we come back, then we will open the phone lines for you to make contribution. Then we'll also talk about the recommendations on what we think could be done in order to address these challenges. You're welcome back to Caring Heart on Armed Forces Radio. Caring Heart is a program where we discuss the rights and privileges of persons with disabilities. And today we'll be looking at inaccessible public infrastructures and its effect on the productivity of persons with disabilities in Nigeria. So before the break, we have looked at the challenges ranging from the inaccessible lack of access to education, employment, transportation, entrepreneurship, and uh, health and well-being. So which this inaccessible public infrastructure have actually denied persons with disabilities. So we're going to be opening the phone lines for you to also be part of this discussion, because our program is audience participatory. We want to hear from you to know what you will also say. If you have any contribution, you have any question to ask, that you can do so. So you can call us on 070 72 42 62 58, 070 72 42 62 58. Let me repeat: 070 72 42 62 58. You can call us so if you have any. Hello.
Hello?
Hello, your name and where you're calling from.
Hello?
Hello, I can hear you. Your name and where you're
Well,
calling. Hello.
my name is Ada Agassi.
Okay.
Calling from Mororo.
All right. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Adams can make your contribution.
My contribution is that one Nigeria we should prepare for Christmas and the country now is getting so everybody is focused.
It's not actually what we are discussing, Adams. We are not discussing Christmas now. So you can call us on 070 72 42 62 58. So as I'm waiting for the callers, so let me quickly talk about the recommendations. So one of the some of the recommendation is that we need to actually make sure that the laws and the policies that we already have on ground, we have a lot of policies that are addressing some of these issues, so like and the disability law as well to be enforced. Government should do as much as they can. We actually have the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. They need to do more in order to address some of these issues, and other MDAs. They need to also do more. The law have the roles and responsibility of everyone, even individuals. So we need to go through the law, understand the law, and ensure that and make sure that the law is fully implemented. And that is one. Two is we need to have what I call inclusive urban planning. So Nigerian government need to actually adopt the universal design, in whatever they are doing. When they are doing road, they are doing buildings, and every other aspect of this thing that they are doing. So they need to actually adopt universal design in order to accommodate all. Because universal design is not just for persons with disabilities; it's also for the elderly, and children, every other person, so that the buildings and other infrastructures will be very accessible for all. Hello? 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 Your name and where you're calling from? So lost the caller. So another one is that we need to actually invest in assistive technology, so that we begin to we need to have a locally made assistive technology. So we need to encourage those in Nigeria, or encourage many companies to also go into production of assistive technology, so that we'll be able to have a lot of technology that can actually accommodate the needs of persons with disabilities, especially within the workplace. By the time we have uh, many technology, assistive technology that can actually assist persons with disabilities, different forms of disability, because they all have their peculiar needs, and need to adopt technology that can actually assist most of them. And if that is done, to still go a long way to assist. Then another one, we need to create a whole of awareness. So I want to also use this opportunity to thank Forces Radio for this opportunity they also give to us, because this is one of ways that we need to create awareness. And the awareness creation, even though within the law, he gave the mandate to the Ministry of Information to create awareness on this issue. But awareness creation is for everyone. By the time, if you're listening to me, you can still add your voice to it, because disability issues is everybody's business. It can be anyone at any time. So we need to create more awareness so that we can have a more inclusive society, that the needs of everyone will be well taken care of. Then because most why we have a lot of buildings, roads, and railways, airports that is not really accessible is because of the fact that we did not plan from the beginning to ensure that there's inclusivity in everything that we do. We have engineers, we have architects, we have a whole lot of them that continue to put up chunk out plans of public buildings that is not really accessible, because of the fact that you don't have a disability, so you don't think about those who have disability. But I can tell you that a lot of people today, they were not born with disability, but as a result of accident or any other thing, they are either on wheelchair or crutches today. So it's everyone's business, and we need to begin to think ahead and design our buildings, our roads, and every other public infrastructure to accommodate all. Then the another one is to support. That's exactly what I'm also talking about. Supporting inclusive transportation. It's both sea transportation, air transportation, road transportation. All of them need to be very inclusive of persons with disability. We have railways that wheelchair users cannot make use of. The most of all the railways in Abuja here are not really accessible for persons with disabilities. And these are some of the recommendations that I think that we actually need to look at. So, so that that's so okay. So that's some of the recommendations. So you can also call us on 07072426258, because my producer is saying I can still accommodate at least one or two calls before we leave the studio. So you can call us on 07072426258. So if you have anything to say or a question to ask, or even have a better understanding, hello, hello,
Hello?
hello, hello.
Hello?
So you can call us on 07072426258. Hello, hello.
Yeah, okay.
Good afternoon. Your name and where you're calling from.
I'm a friend.
Hello. Can you turn down the volume of your radio and listen to me? Just
Okay.
so let's you can speak now. I think it's better.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
I'm a friend.
Eh?
It's not.
Hello.
I'm hearing
You just go on. You can speak.
it. Okay, I'm a friend from your therapy.
All right, all right. You can go on and make your contribution.
Okay. What are you talking about?
Oh, we've been discussing disability. We've been discussing inaccessible public infrastructure, and its effect on the productivity of persons with disabilities in Nigeria. That's what we discussed.
Okay.
So,
Let's tell you on my radio.
so you can call us back if you have anything to say about that.
Have a nice.
All right. So you can call us on 07072426258. Hello, 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 hello. Wow, the calls have not been so friendly to me today. So then, okay, I think I have one more caller. Hello, Hello? Hello? Wow. So, all right. Then I think my time is far gone. I think I have like okay, 7 more minutes to go. Hello?
Hello.
Good afternoon. Your name and where you're calling from, please. Wow. Can do well to call us back so that we can discuss. Can call us on 070 72 42 6258. Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. God bless you.
God bless you too.
Yeah, well done. Well
Well
done.
done.
So I'm just leaving your studio now before the program
Okay.
rolling.
Okay.
Uh, I'm a visually impaired person too.
Oh,
Since if there's a particular unit where there's a contact number with people who are visually impaired, you have unit number, one number that so that if there's any problem or there's any issue, we can now call that number.
okay.
Will it not will it not work? I'm a
Yeah.
musician, so visually impaired.
All right.
I was invited to a music studio and I just left and the program.
Okay.
Hey, Victor.
Okay. Okay.
I always look to a radio station. So, yeah.
Okay. Thank
God
you.
bless you.
Thank you very much.
Uh, I was asked to bring my music here to your studio, and I
Okay.
came, the person not around.
It's all right. No
Yeah,
problem.
I was given the WhatsApp number, so
No,
I'm going to send those music into the
it's
WhatsApp
okay.
number.
It's all right. No problem. No problem.
Help
That
me,
would be
I need
nice.
help, seriously. God
No,
bless you.
bless you
Okay?
too. Thank
And
you very much.
I
Thank
pray the
you.
generosity of people hearing my
Thank you.
music, if anytime to start to play them, that you listen carefully and that you and support me. I also want to grow in the music. God
It's
bless
all
you.
right. And in our forces radio, definitely we're going to
Thank you
support
so
you.
much.
You know,
Thank you, sir.
thank you. Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate
All right. Mm. So the Ayuda is also listening. I think it's also very important for you to know that we actually have a commission for persons with disabilities, a national commission for persons with disabilities, and that commission is located at Plateau House. Hello? Good afternoon. Your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Isabella and I'm calling from Abuja.
All right. Guys, can you make your contribution? You know what we are discussing.
I just want to say you're doing a good job on what you're saying.
All right.
Hello?
I'm hearing you.
Okay. And want to appreciate you on what you're saying. So, it's making a lot of sense.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for your acknowledgement. Thank you for all your support, and can continue to listen to our Forces Radio and Caring Heart every Monday. Yeah. So I think we can still accommodate more calls. You know, like maybe 2 calls. So hello, hello.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
My name is Philip.
All right. So you can make your contribution.
What people in the matter from the
Hello.
perspective, I believe that government will give the opportunity to work in government house.
Okay.
If the opportunity can be given to get to certain yes, I don't know yes. I think government should approach the opportunity to work.
Okay.
Government yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. You know, you're actually saying that government should give more opportunities for persons with disabilities to work, and that's one of the opportunities is actually making sure that we have a more accessible public infrastructure so that persons with disabilities can actually fend for themselves, because it's a big challenge that persons with disabilities are facing. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I think you're yeah, hello. Your name and where you're calling from.
I'm sorry. Hello. Hello.
Hello, I can hear you.
Okay. I'm calling from National Chief.
And your name?
My name is Godson.
All right, go on.
Yeah. Yes, this disability. There's some disability that we normally come together with them.
Mm.
And me, I help some of it, but I don't have money enough to win through my route to help him again. So I don't know whether
Wow.
you can assist.
Ah. So what we actually do here is that we create awareness. But
Okay.
I can say that you can actually direct, or you can go to, if you know Abuja very well, Plateau
Yes.
House.
Yes.
Plateau House. You can go there, ask for National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, and when you get there, you can
Yes.
ask for assistance. Maybe they could have assistance they can give to the
Okay.
person. And since the person is also into agriculture, you can also approach Ministry of Agriculture. I think they also have a package that they actually advise on how best the person can also be assisted.
Okay. Okay.
All
Yes.
right. Thank you very much. Thank you for your call. Wow. I think this is where we'll be ending it for today on Caring Hearts. So all I can say is that whatever you do, remember that an inclusive society is a more productive society. And now it's now a matter of right, because it's the right of persons with disabilities to also actually enjoy an inclusive society. So thank you for joining me today on Caring Heart on Armed Forces Radio 107.7 FM. So please still join us again next week for another engaging discussion on disability inclusion. Together we can actually break all these barriers and have a more inclusive Nigeria. Stay strong and stay hopeful and be empowered. And happy Christmas. Please enjoy this Christmas and be careful so that we'll also unite after this whole celebration. Bye for now, and I remain Abu Christian Obiora.